You know, it's been a very interesting few days if you've been browsing Twitter. Everyone's talking about it. The newest killer possibility, Darth Vader in Dead by Daylight. So, with the inclusion of Darth Vader in Dead by Daylight, the remote possibility of this even happening, we would first need to talk about how could Behavior even obtain a Disney license. Well, many of you may not know this, but the Xenomorph is actually owned by Disney, so that is possible. If they were willing to give the Xenomorph towards the franchise, it is a possibility we could see Darth Vader. However, that also leans into the second question. How does Darth Vader fit within the universe of Dead by Daylight? What would even be his motivation? I like to think that Vader wouldn't really have a goal in mind to go into the entity's realm, even if it tried to convince him. And I highly doubt he's not gonna fall for the same old trick of like,
oh, we can revive Padme.
I've already fell for that. I'm not doing that again.
or the entity could try to take him. I mean, it's done that before with creatures like the Unknown. I can imagine Palpatine and Darth Vader just chilling, having their daily lunch, and out of nowhere the fog just appears. Something like this. Lord Vader, how is your Big Mac?
It is quite exquisite, my lord. And what about your McNuggets?
My McNuggets are bussing. Hey, what's that underneath you?
No!
That's pretty much how I would imagine it to go. Next thing we need to look at is, can Darth Vader be a fun killer? How will the lightsaber work? Well, I see Darth Vader can be a fun killer. I like the idea many people have proposed, where basically his lightsaber will not be ignited first. Mainly what you'll have is a dark silhouette in the thick fog, and all you hear is his breathing, similar as Rogue One. Some people say that the Force would be more of his main power, where his final attack or Mori could be related to the lightsaber to keep it in canon, because it would look weird for Darth Vader to smack somebody with a lightsaber and they still run away. I know Disney's fucked up much of the lightsaber over the years, but I don't think they're gonna fuck it up that much. I mean, hey, you never know. We all remember the Acolyte. Does Darth Vader fit with horror? The Obi-Wan scene where he literally walks by and just starts killing people left and right to draw Obi-Wan out. I mean, there's a lot of things you can look at. I think Darth Vader has the horror element. He definitely has the aura. However, the universe of Star Wars, many people don't look at it like horror due to just the main IP. Now, if you look into the lore of Star Wars and you go even deeper, there are characters in there that are very, very terrifying. You don't really see them because they don't really get the spotlight. Not too often in mainstream media. But if they can bring Kaneki, then yeah, he definitely can work. I mean, it's just the matter of reality. There's also the idea that there's a lot of IPs out there. However, the IPs are eventually going to run out, and the Fortnitification of a game is technically inevitable. We all remember Rainbow Six Siege and how suddenly out of nowhere we woke up to, oh, Master Chief. Well, welcome to the party. But it also would be really good for the game when it comes to sales and longevity. And I know I see people talk about the skins for like the clown or the bunnies. They're cosmetics. They're meant to be fun. They're meant to be goofy. Not to mention mascot horror isn't a new thing. It's been around for almost 10 years now. You can blame Five Nights at Freddy's for the irreversible damage for mascot horror. Some people also point out to the Trapper teddy bear skin, but you gotta remember Behavior owns that IP. That was inevitable. And I almost forgot the dating sim, but that's also owned by Behavior, so that's also inevitable. And there was also a trend for a while where a lot of games were just doing the dating sim joke. I remember it started around the time when KFC had their dating sim, and that was very, very weird. That was a weird time. Does anybody remember that? Some are worried how many crossovers until the game loses its identity. It kind of reminds me of that old question of like, you can basically take a boat and you can replace a board every day, but once all the boards have been replaced, is it still the same boat? I'm not sure if that's how the saying goes, but somewhere around those lines. It's one of those questions. At the end of the day, it's still Dead by Daylight, but it's not going to be the Dead by Daylight you remember. Dead by Daylight is going to keep some core identity. It has to. It'll always be a horror-related IP. So with that being said, you're not going to see characters like Doomslayer as a survivor or a killer. It just wouldn't make sense. The Witcher recently was an interesting one, but even the devs have said that was kind of pushing it for when it comes to their character selections. But they figured he was acceptable due to the fact he has fought many entities and he has survived many entities. Where for someone like the Doomslayer, who is a fucking god, I also think there's some biases here. A lot of things they see is the aura and the hype moments, which I cannot disagree. It goes hard. The music goes hard. However, are many of us going to identify the status of a character to fit in a genre due to the fact of aura and hype moments? I mean, they did it with Springtrap, so it wouldn't surprise me. But that's for you to figure out in the comments, so let me know about that. Do you think a character should be able to be put into a game or just higher ranking because aura and hype moments? I don't know about you, but the bell-bearing hunter from Elden Ring Night Rain, it's definitely gotten up higher in my opinion because of the aura moments. And then there's also another situation. DBD has had non-horror icons before. We have Nicolas Cage, we have Tomb Raider, and then the best one of them all, Kaneki. Let's talk about Kaneki. How did we even get to this point? I don't even know anything about his story in Dead by Daylight, because I remember waking up one day going, oh, I wonder what's on the news today. Boop. And it was Dead by Daylight, and it was fucking Kaneki announcement trailer, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And I went back to bed and I was like, wait a minute, is that fucking Kaneki? It's very interesting seeing him in there of all killers or all people. If anything, Kaneki is one of the most interesting killers there is. I hear he's a fun killer. What do you think about it? Is the anime Tokyo Ghoul considered horror? To me, it's more of a thriller drama, but the world of Tokyo Ghoul is terrifying, I will agree. Kaneki's situation is terrifying. I mean, he went from an innocent boy who got turned into a ghoul from a very terrifying attack, only to be later kidnapped by a character named Jason, have all his toes torn off and fingernails, while watching innocent people die in front of him. So yeah, it would count as horrific, but I wouldn't be like, it's an anime I watched as scared of. And since Kaneki's in the game, could we also have Parasite in DBD? Or the live action Parasite? They're both really good, and they definitely could work with the aesthetic. You know what, while we're at it, go on and get Light Yagami in there. Let's get the fucking Death Note. Who else are we gonna put in the game? Are we looking to add Shredder? Are we looking to add Big Daddy? What about Slender Man? That could be cool. Or fucking Jaws. Jaws the shark. Yes, you heard me correctly. Would it not be hilarious to turn around and see the fucking shark floating going go, go, go? And you know what? If we're going to talk about characters to bring in from the Star Wars universe, if we're all going to be looking at Darth Vader, what about General Grievous? He has definitely got the ability to be at least a singularity skin. He could definitely work. That's about as much time as I have for this little rant. I think Darth Vader could work. Originally when I heard it, I was really against it, but then as I started looking into it more and I started to see more opinions from other people and just doing my own little research on like kind of like envisioning it, I could see him working, but I can definitely see it being a very big stretch for the type of killers they want to bring into this franchise. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Hope you all have a good day. Be nice, be kind, comment down below, subscribe. You heard him right, he says subscribe. Let's fucking go. Bye bye.